People, welcome to another episode of The Unknown show on YouTube, right? People, in today's episode, we are going to talk about a wild story. You are not going to believe this story. Damn, South Africa is a movie and it involves the SANDF. Who would have thought that the SANDF is possibly involved in criminal activity? But the question is, who are they acting on behalf of? Who is ordering them? Who is behind the SANDF's actions? And who's ordering these actions to be carried out? Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holler. People, on the 7th of December, 2022, a ship from Russia called the Lady R docked at Simonstown in Cape Town. This was a very suspicious move. And the first person to actually call this out was the US ambassador to South Africa. And at that time, everybody was telling him that he is wild and he's wrong and he's this. And he also said he was discovering some terrorist activity going on in South Africa, or possible terrorist activity going on in South Africa, or South Africa might experience a terrorist attack. And again, he was attacked on that. Why now? Anyhow, on September the 8th, SANDF, or rather, let's put it like this: two trucks headed to Cape Town from Johannesburg to Simonstown to load and offload cargo from the Lady R, right? That sparked questions in the middle of, well, we can't say the night because it was load shedding at the time, right? Now, what happened is that there were three vehicles, two Mercedes-Benz combis and one black BMW. Now, here's the funny thing. Those private vehicles, the Mercedes-Benz and the BMW, were part of a front company that belonged to an SANDF high-ranking official. And these members helped to load and offload the cargo onto the Lady R. Now, this was done on the 8th of December 2022. Now, remember, the Lady R arrived on the 7th of December 2022. And then these two trucks traveled all the way from Johannesburg to Cape Town to load equipment, or to load some containers. So we don't know what the contents are, right? So they went to load containers onto the Lady R. And there was some offloading of things from the Lady R. Now here's the thing. Why would the SANDF members use private vehicles and not official state vehicles like SANDF branded vehicles? See, that alone is suspicious, right? Okay, let's move on. Fast forward to December 29th, 2022. One of those three Mercedes-Benz combis, vehicles, right? A white one, was spotted at the Mall of Africa, in which, again, SANDF members are alleged to have kidnapped two high-ranking officials of the ISIS group. Some say one of the men was a bodyguard and the other was an ISIS financier. The SANDF, however, refutes refutes claims and allegations that they are involved in any wrongdoing, kidnappings or otherwise. Fine, let's move forward. The Hawks decide to do an investigation, and in doing so, they appoint a new investigating officer. I think his surname was Motipe or something like that. Really? Just when you start recording, he starts barking like it's on cue. Okay, anyway, hope you can hear me. So he starts this investigation, right? And 6 months, I think, down the line, he's making headway into his investigations. But the funny thing is, his investigations lead him to the SANDF. And as he probes to get information about the whereabouts of vehicles, the whereabouts of these members, asking for cell phone tracking and vehicle trackings, they playing hardball to give this Walks investigator. Finally, 6 months later, like I said, so this would now be in August, I think, June, July, August, somewhere there. This investigative officer is allegedly or apparently on his way to go and meet some whistleblowers or someone who might know something and might want to give information about something, because the brother of one of the abductees was asking how far along he is in his investigation. And he told him that he is getting a lot of blowback from the SANDF about tracking, cell phone tracking and vehicle tracking, right? But here's the thing. This gentleman, on his way to go and meet so-called whistleblowers or so-called informants or some people who have information regarding the case that he's investigating, on his way there, and this is on his way to Hammanskraal, a black BMW shoots the man while he's driving on the highway to Hammanskraal. Two shots fired from a moving vehicle hits the man in the head, and that shows that was a professional hitman. Because to shoot from a moving vehicle is not easy. To hit your target twice in a row, that's not easy. I'm sure you and I, who have no firearm experience, will be shaking and possibly miss a moving target. And if you do hit that moving target, it's going to be on accident, by luck, fluke. Best could describe that. But here's the thing. Back to the Mall of Africa, right? So when these high-ranking ISIS members were at the Mall of Africa, right? They were abducted into one of those white Mercedes-Benz combis that I was talking about. And then CCTV footage shows that after the abductions, the abductee's vehicle was on the move. That white Mercedes-Benz was on the move. And an Audi was also on the move. You see, here's the funny thing. If investigations are supposed to go smoothly like they're supposed to, why would cell phone tracking, vehicle tracking get in the way? Or why would someone refuse to give you such information if you are innocent? I mean, the thing is, the investigating officer could simply go to the cell phone company and go and find out and get that information. But I think the investigating officer was polite enough to first go to the so-called suspects and get their version of the story and see whether they'll be compliant or not, to get a read and a feel of the people alleged to be part of this crime. Now, which I think was a very smart move, if you ask me, because While anyone could just simply run to the cell phone companies and to the tracking companies, one would first actually go to the so-called perpetrators or alleged perpetrator and get a read and feel of the person's reaction to the questions you are asking. And I think for that, that investigating officer, who unfortunately was shot and killed, was had a very smart move when he did that, right? Now here's my thing, guys. Why on God's green earth would the SANDF members get themselves involved in the abductions of high-ranking ISIS members? I mean, is that not a case? I'm just saying for the police. I'm not saying the police are supposed to abduct, but are the police not supposed to be hunting, monitoring these people? Is that not the role of the Secret Service? So why the SANDF? And not only that, why would the SANDF have what they call a front company of motor vehicles that are unmarked, so to speak, or not to say unmarked, but that do not have SANDF branding? Why would SANDF members be using private vehicles to do what would appear to be state work? It just doesn't make sense unless they're hiding something. Because let's be honest, if South Africa is supplying arms to Russia, which is not a crime at all, right? If South Africa is supplying arms to Russia, clearly SNDF trucks military trucks would be seen leaving bases going to load onto this Lady R in Cape Town. Surely other vehicles, whatever trucks or armored personnel vehicles, could also be seen on the scene or should be seen at the same scene with extra personnel helping to load and offload cargo. I mean, that would be an open shut case. I mean, it's not a crime for South Africa to conduct such things. But here's the thing, why would the SANDF use private companies? Like, they hired these two trucks that belong to a private company to transport these containers from Johannesburg to Cape Town. Why would that be the case? And this is why. I mean, I'm sure the SANDF have trucks that are capable of transporting containers in a military capacity to and fro wherever they need to go. So there's no need to contract a private company. But okay, no harm in the SANDF contracting a private company. Let's just say because we're living in South Africa now, obviously budgets and this and that. So they don't have the money, so they have to get private company help. Okay, again, not a crime, right? But surely when it comes to the smaller vehicles, the SANDF has more than enough smaller private vehicles in which their people can move around with. So if that's the case, why move around with private vehicles? Isn't that suspicious? So my thing is this. The judge in this case, right, decided, I think it's Judge Mojapelo. I think he's decided to have this case in closed doors, I think, because it's a sensitive case. But the shocking thing is this involves the SANDF. Would this not is this not supposed to be like a public case? Or maybe they're gonna switch to public, I'm not sure. But this thing happened in 2022, 2023. Oh man, you know? This is shocking that 2025, this case is not even splashed all over the newspapers. I just don't get it. Why the secrecy? The SANDF has come out and categorically rejected all claims of alleged crimes, of kidnapping, wrongdoing, of anything other than being a state organ responsible for defense of the country. So if the SANDF is the defense mechanism of the country, and if they are found guilty of kidnapping of these ISIS members, why? The question now stands, why would the SANDF kidnap these ISIS members? Why would the SANDF use private vehicles to help move containers from Johannesburg to Cape Town? So, while we look at criminals as criminals and we look to state organs like SANDF and the SAPS to protect us from the criminals, they themselves seem to be entering that realm of criminality. So the question remains, who can we trust now? And who is actually behind this? Why would, if the SANDF is indeed guilty of this crime, who stands to benefit? Why was this done? And the biggest thing is, do you think this is bigger than politics? Do you think this is about business being done through state organs to fund private interests? Only time will tell. Let me know what you think about this topic. Was I on the money or did I totally miss it with this one? Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holler.